And again, we have another member from this absolutely loaded 2025 class. That is the sophomore class in the state of Arizona. We have St. Mary's forward Cash Jones. His real name is Caspian, but his nickname is Cash, and he
Yeah.
deservedly so deserves that nickname. Great to meet you, man. How you doing?
Great, great.
Well, I'm super happy to have you on and talk a little bit about hoop with you today.
Yeah.
Um, you guys kind of kicked off the season against a tough team against NDP. How is
Mhm.
that game for you, and kind of how has the build up towards the season been in these last couple of weeks?
So I feel like, obviously we've been putting a whole lot of work this off season, and then we had a couple things going on, personally on the team. Me and Seydu was out that game, but we saw throughout the game sparks of how we could be a really great team this year. We pride ourselves on being a fast playing team, going up and down, hitting threes, playing defense, pressing. So he saw sparks of that first game. Unfortunately, we didn't come out with the W, but there's always room to work on stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. For a lot of people that may not know, technically you and your story, you weren't at St. Mary's last year, which St. Mary's was a very loaded class. I can't even imagine you with that team last year that was with mostly seniors and Styles, but
Yeah,
I that would have been probably the most terrifying team, honestly, to
yeah.
me. But they finished 19-8, first in their region.
hmm
What do you hope to bring to St. Mary's now for this year and possibly the rest of your high school career?
Obviously, we want that state championship. That's every high school team's goal. But we really want to make a statement. As you said, a lot of them seniors left, and so people are kind of overlooking us right now. And so we want to come out with a statement that we still one of the top teams in high school ball in Arizona. So
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that first segment for what you focused on most this off season. I was able to watch. I was at the Willow Canyon kind of like preseason invitational thing. I don't know what it was, but I know it was a big event. I saw you guys play Edu Prize, and at the start, I was like, I knew Styles just from covering basketball last year. And then someone brought up your name, and they're like, "You're gonna want to watch this kid because he's six
yeah,
seven as a sophomore."
yeah,
And I was like, God damn. I'm like, what are they feeding these kids now,
yeah,
nowadays? I saw y'all walked in. You played a very talented Edu Prize team with KJ and the rest of those guys that, a lot of them have Division I offers. I
yeah,
know Calden too is really talented. You guys went toe to toe with them.
yeah,
Um, but that was one of the most interesting games. I've never seen a head coach get ejected from a ref and then reinstated back in the game like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Edu
That
Prize
was that
coach
was
did.
definitely interesting.
Um, yeah, I don't know if you remember that game, clearly, but some takeaways from that kind of showcase tournament, and maybe some thoughts on that game specifically and how you guys handled adversity against a tough team.
Yeah, that was one of our first games as a full roster where we had at that time. But we showed. We our main focus at that point was our press defense, and you could really
Mm-hmm.
see him out during that game. Our intensity on defense was really unlike any other, and we already knew Edu Prize is going to be a more look more talented than us. More size, and we knew that coming in, but we knew we was going to use that to our advantage. So we just came out with a different intensity and tenacity that I guess they couldn't handle.
Yeah, you guys spaced the floor kind of perfectly. Your ball movement,
Yeah,
and with a lot of I know high school ball, a lot of people will pass the ball, but then stand in that position, wait for something to happen. It might do like a quick cut or like a screen from another guy. You guys were constantly moving
yeah,
every time. Like ball movement, it was either you're giving a screen to Styles or another one of your guards, and your 3-point shooting, I think, was a deciding factor in how you guys pulled that game off
yeah.
because it was a lot of back and forth. But then one of the white kids on your team, I have no clue. He had, I think, longer hair. He was getting into it with one of the guys and knocking down a lot of
Oh yeah,
threes. But
that's Kenny.
you guys played really well. But to get back to you, you went to a Pangos thing, which you're going to talk about in a second too. But what things have you focused on most this offseason to make a big statement for your sophomore year?
So me personally, one of the things I pride myself on is my shooting, obviously, and getting physically fit, best physical shape I could possibly be in. That's something me and my family kind of pride ourselves upon. Getting in shape, putting in that work in the weight room, And then obviously, handles, getting up hundreds of shots, each day during that summertime, so that way you can get prepared for the upcoming season and put out your best foot.
Were you guys able to play in Section 7, or what was kind of your schedule regarding club and school ball?
Yeah, so I played. I wasn't with them. I was with them during Section 7, but they had already played a couple little games before that, so I wasn't really familiar with them at that point. But we did come out and play with Section 7. At that point, we had two other players that ended up not sticking with us. So it was a completely different roster, completely different style of play at that point when we was in Section 7.
So you're 6'7". You're looked as one of the top sophomores in the state. Got recognition, like I said, from 24/7, which I have here. It says St. Mary's Camp Ball isn't the place to be passive, and Jones really understood that. You were 6'5" at this time, but I think you're 6'7", right? You could possibly be still growing. The 6'7" wing, we'll just say, never hesitated to let jumpers fly from deep, and he was pretty accurate from out there. While he wasn't afraid to let shots fly, he did so without taking many bad shots. And just when he looked like he might be settling for deep shots, he started attacking the rim, where he was able to get used to his strength.
Yeah.
What were some things that, made that Pangos thing so good for you? Because I watched that tape that you were tagged in and went back and watched those minute clips. Just how you use your size is something that, stands out to me immediately. And we'll get into that in a little bit too. But what was that Pangos experience like, and how did it feel getting recognition like that, someone appreciating how you play?
So that experience, it was really a good thing for me because it gave me an opportunity to really put my name out further than that. Because I've been in a couple camps before, but usually, when you get there, there's like hundreds of kids there. You kind of get overwhelmed at times, and you start thinking about how you're gonna play. And when I came in, I was locked in. I knew I had to make a statement. And I knew I had to show these people what I had. I knew there was a lot of people in the crowd. So I just, zoned out and balled. So that was about it.
Yeah, you definitely did that. I saw DeAndre, who I've had on too.
Yeah.
He got a couple of recognition too. But in your words, what can we expect from Cash Jones this upcoming season?
I mean, just a different style of play, and I'm really trying to put myself out there as undeniably like one of the top sophomores in Arizona. One of my goals stat wise is to get close to, if not averaging a triple double this season, especially with the type of people I have around me, and the way I play. I feel like I can make that happen.
Yeah, I think absolutely too. If there was one word you would say how you play, what would it be?
Oh, just versatile. That's about it. I can do a little bit of everything. You need me to push the ball, I can get that. You need me to run a set for you, I can do that. Rebound, all that, shoot, whatever you need me to do, I'm there.
Yeah, I definitely agree. My next question for you is usually if there's anybody you try to play like or take pieces of your game, who would that be? When I saw you play, and I went back and watched a little bit of that film as well, it seemed, I know he's very new to the NBA. Paulo is a guy that kind of jumped off the board for me just because, especially him at Duke and then now in Orlando, he's playing with very skilled guards that can get him the ball. But you're also able, when you have the ball, to create your own shot and use kind of your body as an advantage against smaller defenders like he does. Is there anybody else you try to play like? If it's Paulo, what about Paulo's game do you love that you try to add to yours?
I mean, yeah, obviously Paulo, I get that a lot. Off the dome right now, I can't really think of somebody. I can see Spurs like a little bit of Kyle Kuzma in the sense of how I shoot. I can move off ball and stuff like that, move around. But I try to get a lot of aspects from a lot of different types of players. It's kind of hard to single out one. But Paulo is definitely a distinctive one that a lot of people tell me I play like.
I was gonna say young Blake Griffin before I went back and watched like some Paulo tape, but I'm like, I know you're dunking, but you're not like dunking like Blake was.
I can get up a little bit, but not like that. Not like that.
You're not jumping over cars yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Before we get into kind of your averages and what made you feel so confident last season, I do want to ask you, because you told me before we started recording, you played at Prep last year and now moved to St. Mary's. What Prep did you play for last season?
It was a thing called Phase 1. It was a combination of a whole bunch of out-of-country players, and it was just a cool experience for freshmen. I didn't really know the high school, the AIA stuff. I wasn't on that scene yet. So I started off there.
What made you then want to make that jump from prep to AIA? Because a lot of the time, especially, I feel like I've noticed it more in Arizona than anywhere else. Um, Most kids go from AIA to prep, and you
Yeah,
kind of went the other way.
yeah.
Before we get into why you chose St. Mary's of all schools, what made you want to decide to go from prep to AIA, or was it kind of just like you didn't know and you wanted to get a feel for what was going on?
Yeah, that's kind of like I was kind of curious about what was going on there. I saw a lot of different teams and how they were playing and how they kind of got a little bit more recognition at times. I just thought, it's maybe a better area to get my name out there as far as in the state of Arizona. So
Right.
that's really my main reason is why I chose to do that.
And you chose St. Mary's, who has undoubtedly, been a very successful high school.
Yeah,
What made St. Mary's the best choice for you instead of other schools, maybe around where you live or just in the state as
yeah.
a whole?
I mean, obviously their basketball history is rich. Going from Jared Bayless to Channing Frye and obviously last year's team. But another thing they pride ourselves is an education and what they
Mm,
give us really good. And I feel like I'm put in a spot where if something happens, God forbid, and basketball doesn't go my way, I still have something to come back on because of St. Mary's education.
yeah, I absolutely love that you have that kind of matureness to you already at such a young age to notice
Yeah,
that like basketball is a great thing that could possibly change my life, but I'm not going to
yeah,
make it, my
yeah,
only thing in life that I want to do. I think that's a great mindset to have. Let's get a little bit more into you. You said before, 'cause I looked everywhere for your stats, man, and I'm so
yeah,
glad you knew your stats off the bat,
yeah,
just like that. You averaged 25 a game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists for Phase One prep last year.
yeah,
You kind of told me before, um, that coaching stuff made you play really free
yeah,
and kind of just do whatever you want. What
yeah.
made you though feel so confident last season to play as well as you did as a freshman and starting on varsity?
I mean, they gave me a sense of, confidence that at first I didn't have in myself. I came in like everybody else, we had mostly seniors and everybody like that. And they came in, they saw my potential and just gave me a whole bunch of confidence boost every practice. Like, hey, don't kick it out. You can have this shot right here, you can hit
Mm-hmm.
that. And then just constantly, putting me in the gym, allowing me to come in early mornings or late nights and just put in work, be in the weight room with them and just communicate with me, and that just gave me the confidence I needed.
What was, um, I guess you could say, you're at such a young age. It's crazy to hear you say like get in the gym late or early in the morning. When did that kind of the switch flip for you that like made you want to continue to get better and grow? Was it just because you kind of just started growing like crazy and were 6'5" as a freshman, or when did it kind of click for you that I could actually be one of the best if I really put my mind to it?
I mean, as far as just putting in work, like the weight room is where I first started. My dad, he got me started early, just knocking out push-ups. Always told me like, hey, you don't have to have weights. You can do whatever you need to right
Right.
there. Like, so that just kind of started for me. And then I fell in love with working out. And then I started gradually playing more and more basketball and realizing, I could really make something of this. I could make money playing off this sport. And that kind of opened my eyes a little bit. And I started putting in more work as far as basketball skills.
Yeah. You were undoubtedly playing with one of the best point guards in the state. In my opinion, probably the most skilled. I think just all
Yeah.
around game. Of course, you're talking about Styles Phillips. If you haven't heard about him, just go and search up him on
Yeah.
Instagram and you'll see what we're talking about. When I watched you guys play Edu Prize, it was a small taste of I feel like what you guys could honestly be because that was at the beginning.
Yeah.
But how he is able to create for not just you, but the guys around him and himself using his ball handling, his eye vision, or sorry, court vision. Um, something I picked up is it feels like he can see things before it happens, kind of like
Yeah.
a lot of point guards do. What makes playing with him so easy for you? And we'll get it back into like how you feel like you match up duos in the state. But my first question for you, what makes playing with him for you so easy and effortless?
I mean, one thing, number one point guard in the state, in my opinion, obviously, but his communication and just his leadership, during practice and stuff like that, his guidance towards other players and stuff. and is really like a lot of something a lot of people don't see and some people
Mm,
overlook. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of stuff like during practice, like hey, we have to make a lot of mistakes to make it look like that good during a game.
right.
So it's really but his leadership is and communication is unlike any other.
Yeah, his court vision. I mean,
Yeah,
it's nuts. And I know he's only a junior. He's still got one more year. And
yeah,
so this duo you guys have, I feel like it'd be something so special that could really shake up the state. I know St. Mary's has a rich history, state championships, the whole 9 yards, but this it feels like youth because you guys still have like 2 years left.
yeah.
How do you feel like this duo, and what will this duo do in the time you guys are together?
I mean, I feel like it's gonna be something for sure. We definitely want either at least one or multiple. We want all the state championships we can get,
Right.
but just put our names out there and put the country on notice that we can be some of the top players or one of the top duos to play.
Speaking of around the country, let's get into your guys' schedule and who you are
Yeah,
most looking forward to playing against. Y'all have a really interesting schedule to say the
yeah,
least. I got it up right now. We won't go through it all, but some things that kind of stuck out to me. I have no clue who GCA is, but I know they're from South Carolina.
yeah,
Brophy then on a Friday night. You got Perry and Mesquite on back-to-back games. Seton Catholic, Saguaro, Mesquite. Then you'll play Mater Day on the 28th in January in California, unfortunately. Um, those are some games that stuck out to me. For you,
yeah.
though, who are you most looking forward to playing against and why?
Um, In state, probably most likely Perry. I mean, without saying, you already know who's on that squad, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of attention on that squad. So, obviously that's a big game to us, and we want to see how we can match up against them.
Out of state, too, you guys have Mater Day. Very talented school
Yeah,
history too, kind of like you guys. I know Bull went there for a bit. Stanley Johnson spent, I think, 4 years there. They got a rich history of NBA players too. Is that exciting for you to be able to go and play against a team like that, or is it kind of just another game to you?
I mean it's a little bit of both. It's cool to look back at their history, some of the players that's gone through that high school. But at the end of the day, they're competition, and the main goal for us is just to win. So all that is fine, but we trying to compete.
And you guys play at Section 7. Oh, no, sorry, not Section 7. At Hoop Hall in
Yeah,
December, right? Okay, I
yeah,
have it up here. You guys are playing Gray Collegiate High. Is that right?
yeah.
And then I think y'all play it one more time, right? Or is that it?
I think we play. I think that's a Brophy game. That's a hoop hall game.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it right there. What is that going to be like? Did you go to it last year?
No,
I was able to go on the Saturday night to see Perry play Sierra
yeah,
and Bronny and stuff. But how much of this kind of opportunity being able to play on like a national scale, even though it is in state, are you most looking forward to it, especially playing an out of state team?
yeah. I mean, obviously that's a big deal. A lot of people are gonna be watching that. I don't know what it's streaming on, but a lot of eyes and ears are going to be on that game. It's a great opportunity to get our team's name out and my name out. And obviously we're playing Brophy, and everybody at the school informed me about our little rivalry, so that's going to be a good little game. So looking forward to it.
My last question for you, like I always do, St. Mary's is a Nike school. I know you guys have pretty sick uniforms. Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I love the colors. What kind of shoes will we see on feet this year? Are you a sneaker guy? Do you not really care? If
Yeah.
so, what are some heat we're gonna see regarding kicks this year?
So this year, where I think we're sponsored by Jordan, and Coach
Oh,
he got us some Zion twos, which aren't bad. I like them all white joints. But me personally, I'm a fan of like the little low top type moves. So I like the GT cuts. Obviously, I like those. PG6s I have, and then I think the latest Kyrie's that just came out. I love those too. So I got all those.
I've been hearing a lot about these GT cuts. I gotta
Yeah,
see these. I see them in 2K when I play, but like
yeah.
I gotta see these things in person.
The second ones, they just made a second pair or a second version. They look all right, but the GT cut ones, those is probably the best basketball shoe almost ever made.
Well, Cash, I appreciate you coming on and being able to chop
Yep.
it up. Anything to shout out before we get out of here?
Shout out St. Mary's, man.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Best of luck to you and the rest of the squad
All right.
this year. I'm definitely coming out to see y'all play probably that Perry game on that Saturday.
Yeah.
But wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, and we'll talk soon.
Yep. Appreciate it, man.